Welcome back, Sebastian here. So today I'm going to be doing my season preview for McLaren F1 team as they have done their car launch later today, perhaps, as of recording of this video. So starting with their drivers, Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, one of the youngest driver tandems on the grid. For Norris, 24 years of age, going into his sixth season of F1, and of course all six will have been with McLaren. For Piastri, second season F1, of course, both of them with McLaren. And of course, after the whole fiasco that we had in the summer of 2022, where he was kind of brought over from Alpine, and the fallout of that, I think he had a very, very good rookie season. Of course, in 2023, this past season, Norris finished 6th in the Drivers' Championship, and Piastri finished 9th in the Drivers' Championship. Taking a look at some of their career stats, for Norris, 104 races, 633 points, 13 podiums, 1 pole, and no wins or championships. And of course, very, very close to his first win several times in 2021, of course. This last year, not really any races where he looked particularly close to getting a win. Of course, he has Max Verstappen to thank for that. And of course, I believe he does at this point have the F1 record for the most podiums without a win. So that's definitely an unwanted record that he'll be hoping to break this season. For Piastri, 22 races, 97 points, 2 podiums, both of them last year, back-to-back in Qatar and in Japan. And of course, he did have that one sprint win in the sprint in Qatar. Of course, no poles, no wins, and no championships. And I think for poles and wins, I think for both drivers, they might be able to get some of those this year if McLaren can build off the really successful car, or really successful upgrades that they made to the car in the second half of last year. Now, taking a look at McLaren, their year-to-year results, starting with 2020, 202 points, third in the constructors. The only time I believe since 2012 where they've been top 3 in the constructors. I might be wrong on that though. Percentage of points finishes 74%, so finishing 74% of their races in the points. 2021, of course, an evolution of that year of those regulations. 275 points, 4th in the constructors. They fell behind Ferrari that year, who bounced back to 3rd after their terrible 2020. 75% points finishes, so a slight improvement from 2020. 2022, first year of the new regulations, 159 points, 5th in the constructors. Not a great car to start the year. I remember they were quite slow in Bahrain and Saudi to start last year. 5th in the constructors, of course, fell behind Alpine as well that year, and they finished in the points 55% of the races, so about 20% less than the year before. Last year, 2023, the start of the season was awful. We know it was terrible. Norris had to do 6 pit stops in Bahrain. Piastri retired in the opening third of the race, but the upgrades that the team brought to Austria basically turned the season around completely. They ended up with 302 points. Ended up being 4th in the constructors, passing out Aston Martin pretty late in the season, but they only finished in the points 61% of the races, which of course is because for those opening about half of the season, they only scored a handful of points, courtesy of Norris and Piastri. Most of those points were from Austria, I believe. So from McLaren, they're really going to be looking to kind of build on that and try and build on that performance in the second half of the year. I don't think winning the championship is likely this year, but I do think that they may be in a position kind of like Red Bull in 2017, 2018, 2019, where they're able to kind of challenge for the odd win in the odd pole position. I think they would take that as a good, solid step forward. Now, looking at kind of their key personnel, Zach Brown's been CEO of the team since 2018, and kind of just in comparison to some of the other top figures at some of the teams I've already looked at, he's already one of the longest tenured people at his position. Team principal Andrea Stella, who's been there since 2023, obviously taking over from Andrea Seidel, who of course went to be CEO of the Sauber Audi project. 3 technical directors. They have Rob Marshall, who came over from Red Bull 2024, Peter Prodromou, who came over who I think was promoted in 2023 into his position. He came over from, I believe, Red Bull as well several years earlier, and David Sanchez, who's starting this year, 2024, coming over from Ferrari. So a whole bunch of new technical people that they brought in from various teams. Of course, James Key was one of the people who was responsible for the 2022 car and the early 2023 car as well. And he was kind of let go, and Sauber went and picked him up. So we'll see how this new technical structure works. Obviously, the personnel who started this year won't really have had much impact with this year's car, given that many of them are only allowed to start January 1st. But it'll be interesting to see how things progress. And of course, for their engine, they use Mercedes engine. So I think another key talking point will be kind of looking at Mercedes and their ongoing battle with their two customer teams, Aston Martin and McLaren. And of course, it's never a good luck for the parent team or the works team, Mercedes, when they're being beaten by their customers, whether that's McLaren or Aston Martin. So we'll see how that storyline progresses this year. So anyway, that's my preview for McLaren's 2024 Formula One season. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe. Goodbye.